Major Jerry Williams was raised in Gary, a lifelong resident of Lake County, has served over 32 years in the Indiana State Police. He currently serves as commander of the Capitol Police and Security Operations, responsible for managing the overall enforcement and security operations within the Indiana government complex and state of Indiana, and he has numerous other state properties. So please welcome to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance, Major Jerry Williams.
Thank you. Please join me in our pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And now I want to invite Rob Pastore to the platform, who's going to be leading us in the national anthem. Rob has served as a board member on Lake County Right to Life since 2023. He was elected as president in February of 2026. His goals and vision for the Lake County Right to Life include greater awareness of the issues of euthanasia, the abortion pill, and neighboring states' abortion policies through billboards, social media, and public events, as well as helping partner organizations like the National and Indiana Right to Life, Abstinence and Marriage Project, 40 Days of Life, and Crisis Pregnancy Centers. To lead our national anthem, please welcome Rob Pastore.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As our dinner is being served tonight, if I may draw your attention to video screens, we have some very special greetings from U.S. Senator Jim Banks and Governor Mike Braun.
Hey everybody, Jim Banks here. I'm so honored to be Indiana's United States Senator. I want to thank Lake County Right to Life for your unwavering commitment to protecting the unborn. Your leadership is the reason that Indiana remains such a strong pro-life state. Here in Washington, I was proud to support President Trump's big, beautiful bill that defunded Planned Parenthood. President Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. During his first week back in the White House, he reinstated the Mexico City policy to ensure that your tax dollars will never fund abortions overseas. And I'm so grateful for his leadership in reversing Joe Biden's unprecedented use of the Department of Defense and Veterans Affairs to provide and fund abortions. As your senator, I will continue to fight for life in Washington and defend the values our nation was built on. I'm proud to stand with each and every one of you in this important mission. Your work is making such a big difference, and I'm grateful for your passion and dedication. Thank you again to Lake County Right to Life and your president, Rob, and Vice President Len on this deeply important issue, as well as what you do to fight for this most important cause. Thank you, and God bless.
Governor Braun here. Thank you, Northwest Indiana, for your support for our pro-life movement. While I cannot be with you, I've had the chance to stand and walk alongside many of you over the years, whether at the Right to Life rally in Indianapolis or in D.C. It's always an honor. I have always believed strong families are the foundation of a healthy society. Indiana should be a place where starting a family is more affordable and achievable. That means we must continue to protect life and make sure our work is strengthened. Also means supporting mothers and their infants and making sure they have the care and resources they need for a healthy start. As governor, I am focused on action. That is why I signed executive orders to ensure Indiana's pro-life laws are fully and faithfully enforced. Laws on the books only matter if they are actually followed. Being pro-life means being pro-family, and we need to back that up with real support for mothers, children, and working families across Indiana. Because our values is show up in what we do, not just what we say. I want you to hear this clearly. Nobody is a stronger supporter of life than I am. I was raised that way, come from a family like that. I will keep standing with you as long as I have the privilege to serve. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for standing for life, and God bless the state of Indiana.
So every March, the Lake County Right to Life holds a countywide oratory contest for high school students. The top 3 winners receive a small monetary prize as well as a scholarship from $150 to $500. First place in this competition moves on to the Indiana State Contest. The winner from the state contest moves on to the national championship. So we have the Lake County winner for you tonight to share her speech. That is Miss Jayla Bush. If you would pay attention to the monitors, please.
Kindly raise your hand if you are male. Now please raise them if you're female. Would it be right for me to claim that one group's life is worth more than the other? I think we can all agree that such a question has no place in the heart of a Christian. The natural sex ratio in human populations around the world sees 106 boys born for every 100 girls. Today, the widespread availability of gender-selective abortion has skewed those numbers, with the disproportion, at times, in certain Asian cultures, reaching as high as 125 boys for every 100 girls. Gender-selective abortion is unethical and is a lethal form of discrimination that devalues women, undermining their potential contribution to a well-functioning society as designed by our Creator. For 3 months in 1996, a group of British journalists with hidden cameras made their way into orphanages in China. Their goal was to find out what became of the millions of baby girls who were abandoned each year because of the one-child policy that was in place from 1979 to 2015. The 40-minute documentary was entitled "The Dying Rooms." For many human rights groups, the heartbreaking scenes of abuse and neglect needed to be brought to light. There were babies being dumped in the street like kittens in a sack, to whom names were attached like luggage tags, who were tied to each other on communal benches, and who had been denied nourishment, medicine, and physical touch. They were left alone to cry endlessly and die in cold, windowless rooms. The saddest part, nearly all of them were girls. That was a common scene in China 30 years ago, a place and time many of us in this room know nothing about. But here's the hard truth. That form of injustice still exists in our world today, but it has evolved into something far more sinister. Why wait to let unwanted baby girls die in orphanages when it would be easier to just terminate them in the womb? In many Asian cultures, particularly in China and India, boys are preferred over girls because of deep-rooted cultural, economic, and social factors. Male descendants carry the family name and are seen as future providers and caregivers for their aging parents. This mindset, along with the mandate China had in place, has resulted in an estimated 142 million missing women. Girls who were never born because they were aborted simply because they were the wrong gender. As the Chinese would say, with one son you have a descendant. With 10 daughters you have nothing. What a disheartening statement to hear for any girl in existence, including myself. Americans also have long favored boys over girls, a bias rooted in traditional gender roles. Since 1941, Gallup polls have found that if American couples could only have one child, they would choose a son. More recent data found that 36% would prefer having a boy, while 28% would prefer a girl. While mothers are evenly split on their preference, 43% of fathers would prefer a son, to only 24% who prefer a daughter. When God created man to rule over the earth, he saw the need for man to have a companion. Men and women have different strengths, roles, and responsibilities that equal a complete partnership, which is an important part of God's perfect design. Without the other, neither is able to fulfill their divine purpose. 1 Corinthians 11:11 states, "Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord." In 2004, the term designer baby became an official entry in the Oxford English Dictionary, and it has become a divisive topic in bioethical debates. With pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, a doctor creates multiple embryos for the purpose of testing them for genetic abnormalities while revealing the gender of the baby in the process. If one or more embryos is less than ideal and not of the desired sex, they are destroyed without question. While parents have the right to plan their family structure, there is a fine line that must be drawn between what is acceptable and what is morally reprehensible. A sickening example of this happened in 2022 when a homosexual couple in California sued a fertility clinic on the grounds that they ordered 2 boys but received a girl instead. When parenthood is nothing but a means to fulfill one's selfish desires, it demeans the inherent value and dignity of those children. So we ask ourselves, what can we do to put an end to what has become a war against women? I strongly believe that the words baby and unwanted should never ever be spoken in the same sentence. Even when circumstances may not be what is desirable or suitable for a family, terminating a pregnancy should not be considered an option. Sometimes the most loving and selfless choice a parent can make is to put their child up for adoption and give them a chance to thrive. There should also be strict regulation guarding the misuse of prenatal testing technology, because it only brings doubt and confusion to the minds of expectant parents. As of January 2026, only 8 states have enacted laws banning sex-selective abortion. H.R. 3541, the Prenatal Non-Discrimination Act of 2012, was a federal bill aimed at prohibiting sex-selective abortion in all 50 states. Unfortunately, despite several iterations in Congress over the last 14 years, the bill faced major opposition and failed to receive enough votes to become a law. Regardless, we cannot accept defeat and must continue fighting for the rights of every unborn child. The practice of gender-based abortion is the greatest form of discrimination against women because God has blessed both genders with purpose and meaning. Whether a child is growing in the womb or is a viable embryo in a laboratory, he or she has the right to life, and it is our God-given duty to defend it at all costs. Thank you.
It's still in effect, and Indiana is still one of the leading states in the country for protection of preborn babies and support of pregnant moms. I'm also happy to say that in those 3 years, we haven't seen any major legislative challenges or any major efforts to either completely repeal or chip away at SB 1. So that's fantastic news. We have seen some legal challenges, however. The latest legal challenge is out of Indianapolis, and it has resulted in an injunction. Last week, we got good news, however, that is going to be fast-tracked to the state Supreme Court, and we're hopeful that the state Supreme Court will continue to uphold Indiana's laws. On the legislative front, there's 4 areas that we're broadly engaged in. The most important and probably most public of those is trying to stop and keep this onslaught of abortion pills being illegally trafficked into Indiana. We have no idea how many pills are coming into the state, but it's thousands upon thousands. In addition to that, we're also working to try to make sure that there's adequate reporting back to the state, both from hospitals as well as the abortion industry in general, to make sure that we can continue to enforce our laws. SB 236, that was authored by State Senator Tyler Johnson, attempted to address both of those issues. We were very happy to see it make its way through the state Senate. It made it through committee, the Senate voted, it went over to the House, and unfortunately it stalled out in the House, but that's not all bad news. It was a very complex bill, there were a lot of elements to it, and the conversations that were going on in the State House about SB 236 were very encouraging. We are very hopeful that we will see something similar to SB 236 come back next session. SB 236 opened up our civil statutes to allow citizens to be able to sue those that are trying to send those abortion pills into our state. Right now, the big problem is several states have shield laws in place that keep us from being able to enforce our laws. And so this would not only allow a remedy here in Indiana, but it also hopefully elevate this to a federal to sort of a federal issue and encourage the federal courts and the federal government to get involved in this issue of shield laws. Another broad area that we're involved in is funding. This was a short session, so there were no direct funding bills, but there was a bill that State Representative Peggy Mayfield put forward to try to restrict the amount of funds that are coming from cities, civic organizations, et cetera, to help fund women going across state lines for abortions. Once again, it was received well, and hopefully we'll see something similar to that again next session. And then the fourth area that we're really involved in is, in addition to funding, in addition to the reporting, in addition to the abortion pills coming in, is we're trying to head off all of these other life issues from other states coming into Indiana. Chief among those is the medical assistance in dying. Every session, we seem to see a bill that is introduced into the House that would make assisted suicide or euthanasia legal in Indiana. Once again, we saw HB 1011 introduced, and once again, it did not receive a hearing, and it really didn't make any strides forward. So we're going to continue to fight to make sure that not only medical assistance in dying, but other life issues don't come into Indiana. Thanks to people like you, thanks to your support of Lake County Right to Life, your support of Indiana Right to Life, Indiana continues to be a model around the country for pro-life legislation. So thank you all again for being here. Thank you for your support, and we will continue to fight the good fight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I want to invite Michael and Dawn Cade to the stage for the presentation of the Dr. Kelly Award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I was kind of in mid-chew when I was called to come up here. I appreciate so much all of you coming. I have been a board member now with Lake County Right to Life for about 10 years and the treasurer. And when Len Reynolds asked me to come on and be a member of the board, little did my wife know that she would be part of that as well, which she's always here with me at my side. And if any of you here were here at like 5 o'clock tonight, you would have seen her putting books on the tables and walking up and down the room and making sure that the name badges were on and everything. So she's been, every time there's something that needs to be done, she's here helping me. And for any of you literature fans, that's foreshadowing for this next award here. The Dr. Kelly Award. Dr. Kelly was the founder of Lake County Right to Life over 50 years ago. And he fought against originally his tax dollars before the Hyde Amendment, his tax dollars going to fund abortions. And as a matter of fact, he just withheld the money. He moved out of the country. He said, I'm not going to have my money supporting abortions in this country. And this was before the Hyde Amendment that took care of that. But throughout the years, this has been the most important award that has been honored from Lake County Right to Life. And if you would look on the list on page 16, you can read a little more about Dr. Kelly. You can read about all the people who have been honored with this award. But ever since I've been part of Lake County Right to Life, there's been one person who has always been there, working behind the scenes diligently. Whenever there's an event, this person is there. Whenever there's any kind of activity going on, this person is working months in advance, selling tickets, doing this and that and the other, making sure all the people get everything that they need all the time. And anybody who knows, who's in the know, who knows what's going on in Lake County Right to Life, knows that this person is indispensable for Lake County Right to Life. And tonight we're honoring with the Dr. Kelly Award our dear friend, Charlene Reynolds.
Already lost my voice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, continuing on in our program, now for our organizational update. Our next presenter is a native of Northwest Indiana and resident of Cherville. He's been married to his wife Charlene for 19 years. Together, they have 5 children, 7 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. Now retired from the Lake County Highway Bridge and Signage Department, he founded the Christian Coalition of Lake County in 1994 and Working Families United for Traditional Values in 1996. In 2014, Stop the Traffic was founded to fight human trafficking in Northwest Indiana and the surrounding states of the Midwest. He also founded the Moms, Tots, and Babies Shop in 2017 and Awaken Americans in Action in 2022. After being president of Lake County Right to Life for 15 of the past 16 years, he has stepped down to assume the role as vice president in February in 2026. Let's please welcome Lynn Reynolds.
Good evening. You may not believe it, but this is a little overwhelming for me every year. I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and I want to apologize for any hiccups. Things happen. Our goal is to accommodate you even with all of the last-minute changes, and there was a lot of them. If you're a board member of Lake County Right to Life, I'd really appreciate it if you'd stand up, please. Kathleen and Christine, if you're in the room, please stand up. We have probably one of the most incredible active boards that we've had in the 15, 16 years that I've been involved with Lake County Right to Life at this stint. I worked with Lake County Right to Life years ago for a little while, and but this board is pretty incredible. So it's at this time we're going to play a little video. I do a little dance, not really, about the accomplishments that we've done in the last year.
Good evening. My name is Len Reynolds, Vice President of Lake County Right to Life. I just wanted to throw a few things out to let you know some of our accomplishments that we've been able to achieve through the last year, and maybe a couple that we were unable to achieve that we had on our list. First of all, we were able to continue to support the Knights of Columbus by sponsoring a couple of people to go with them to the Washington, D.C. trip commemorating Roe versus Wade and the March for Life. In addition, we were able to help the Diocese of Gary by sponsoring one of 2 buses to go to Indianapolis, also for the March for Life in Indianapolis. In addition, we were able to continue with our oratory contest. We sponsored that in March. I had some great contestants. The winner will go on to Indianapolis in May. From there, we were able to, for the first time since COVID, re-enter the Highland 4th of July Parade. It's Twilight Parade on July 3rd. It was a great turnout. We had a lot of fun. Again, we participated in the parade in Griffith on the 4th of July, which also had a great turnout and a lot of fun. We were also able to conduct a 10-day-long support table at the Lake County Fair, which provided a lot of educational opportunities and information about life issues like euthanasia, doctor-assisted suicide, abortion, stem cell research, abortion pills, abortion pill reversal, as you'll hear a little bit more about this evening. We were able to attend the National Right to Life Convention, where we were able to gather much-needed cutting-edge information on what's going on in the abortion industry and the fight against abortion in this nation, as well as took a few of our supporters and board members to the 40 Days for Life Symposium. Off the charts, terrific organization. We were fortunate to be able to attend. We saw the clinic that Abby Johnson used to work at, a lot of great information. We were also able to hold the 40 Days for Life campaigns in spring and September that we normally are able to work at the facilities for 40 days. We promote somebody standing out there praying peacefully for the clinic to close, for the ladies going in and out to have a change of heart toward life, and also for the ladies and gentlemen who work there to obtain more positive pro-life employment. In addition, we were able to conduct the most successful life chain we've had in several years, stretching from Indianapolis Boulevard to Illinois West along Ridge Road, just peacefully demonstrating signs showing life, supporting life. Abortion kills children. Adoption, not abortion. Just peacefully. Very successful campaign. We also held a board of directors meeting where new president and vice president were installed, as well as a couple of other new board members. Great election. The restructuring of the Lake County Right to Life board is going to be something that you, as our supporters, will also benefit from as much as the general public that we're able to affect with the proposed programs, projects, and events. We continue supporting the Moms and Tots Shop, which provides assistance, financial and material and supplies to the women's care centers in the area, as well as other life-affirming organizations throughout northern Indiana. One of the greatest accomplishments we were able to help the Abstinence and Marriage Partnership achieve in this last legislative session was the passage of the success sequence for the public schools. It passed the legislature. Governor Braun signed it. This is where abstinence and marriage will be taught in the public schools. In Indiana, abstinence is required to be taught in the public schools, and this paves the way for this program to enter into our public schools. Great accomplishment.
Man, that guy's long-winded. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored that we have a special guest, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, in the house. You come on in, come on up. Of the great state of Indiana.
Big hand for Len, everybody. This would not be a Right to Life event without this guy and his team. You guys are great. I'm stopping in from another event. I left to come over here because I wouldn't miss this being within 100 miles. So thanks for letting me come in and scarf down some good chicken. Good chicken. Hey, I just wanted to give you a real quick update from your Attorney General's office. It's the largest law firm in the state of Indiana, actually. We have 200 lawyers, 200 other real people, and 400 of us total. We have 20,000 cases. I take $40 million of your money every year and run the office with it. And when I saw that number, I was like, man, we should be building the pyramids for this kind of money. And in a very legal sense, I see Hal here, who probably votes on that budget. We are. We're doing really good work. And for every dollar I spend, I'm returning 12. $12, so you got a 12 to 1 positive investment with me. But none of that compares to the cases that we handle on behalf of this state in the furtherance of life, our most precious gift from God. And I'm so pleased to report to you that in your office, those, especially those that work on the cases, but throughout the office, you have attorneys who are God-fearing, who love life, who have children themselves, and respect life from its very beginning, meaning conception. So it was our deep, high honor to represent the state when Hal and the rest of these legislators passed the first pro-life law in the nation after the fall of Roe v. Wade, the good fall of Roe v. Wade. And we won that case. And then, pretty recently, we won that case easily, but then recently, I'm not making this up, a group, sued us on religious grounds. Now, what religious group could possibly be suing Todd Rokita in the state of Indiana over that new law? The Satanists, who aren't anything close to what our founders thought of when they brilliantly put in religious freedom into our constitutions. But nonetheless, they claim their religion. They sued me on religious grounds, saying we have a right to an abortion as part of our religion, quote unquote. So we're literally in a battle now. Todd Rokita versus the devil. And we're going to win. We're going to win that one. Or I won't ever be able to come home and see my Lake County mother. We're going to win that battle. In fact, we're going to beat the hell out of the devil on this one. So, on behalf of those attorneys in my office, thank you for letting us do this job. It's the highest honor of my life that you voted me in. Let me tell you, if you haven't gotten the hint already, it matters who your Attorney General is, guys. It matters. So make those choices wisely. I am not on the ballot this year. The Attorney General's office is not up. That's going to be with the governor in 28. So, but I will be doing the job every day from now until then, as long as you'll have me. Thank you very much.
Okay. For those of you who was with us last year, you may remember us talking about the partnership with Scott Phelps, who was our MC last year, with the abstinence and marriage partnership, not abstinence in marriage, just to be clear. And we're pleased to announce the partnership went very well. They did have some legislation get passed, and I think we'll just let Scott's video.
Hi, I'm Scott Phelps, author of the Success Sequence program. And we're excited to announce that the state of Indiana has just passed legislation requiring that schools throughout the state teach young people the clear and objective benefits of following the success sequence as a clear pathway forward in life. We're thrilled to be working with you here at Lake County Right to Life. We love the work that you're doing here, Len and the whole team. It's just a wonderful effort working together to save babies here in the state of Indiana. We're excited to be in a partnership with you. And our whole mission is to save and preserve life and help young people understand the beauty of reserving all sexual activity and childbearing for marriage. And so our curriculum, the Success Sequence program, does just that. It's a curriculum for health class. Instead of a sex education program, we can teach kids a beautiful plan for waiting for marriage, and it does that. It's called the Success Sequence program, and we were able to provide it for free. Our donors and friends and supporters have raised the funds to provide materials for you, for your schools, for free. All we need you to do in this partnership is to tell people about it. Tell your schools that there is a program that they can use in their health class. They can get it for free. Every student gets a workbook. And it teaches the clear and objective benefits of the success sequence, which is 3 steps. Get an education, get a job, and then marry before having children. We have a particular emphasis on the benefits of waiting until marriage for sexual activity and childbearing. And so it's a wonderful program. It's available for your schools for free, and we're thrilled to be in a partnership with you to do that, to distribute this program to schools. So find out more at successsequence.com or shoot us an email at info@successsequence.com. And we're thrilled to work together with you to reach a new generation of American youth. God bless.
I don't know if you understand what that law does, but it's mandatory that abstinence be taught in the Indiana public schools. The success sequence has the ability to change the trajectory in education in Indiana. This program views life to these young people on what real love is. Through positive pathways to healthy relationships, then marriage, then children. The statistics show that the happiest people are those that follow that pathway. And that's what we want in our schools. Amen? Okay. So what we need to help that happen now are teachers, people who can teach. The money is there. If you're interested, please call our office next week, and we will connect you with those guys, and we'll get into schools. You know, there's some hurdles, but they're small. Okay? 838-1138. I said the funding is there. Did I say the funding was there? It's already been secured. Okay. So the only way we're going to change the minds and hearts of these young people is through love and letting them know that we care and give them the truth. There's nothing greater than love that can heal those holes in the hearts. Correct? Okay. So love will heal. Our friend, P.J. Anderson.
There'd be a day where we'd have to fight for this, to be the voice of righteousness, to speak for those unheard. For all our beating hearts began in the same love. No one should take away from us the simple right to live. Hear our voice, we are one. We will fight until we've won. Love will heal every heart. We will fight until we've won, until we've won. Burdened by all the violence, hatred and defiance, love for which we're made. We are here to be the ears for the broken, a voice for those unspoken. The future can be peace. So hear our voice, we are one. We will fight until we won. Love will heal every heart. We will fight until we've won, until we've won. Only love can change hearts. Let your peace be the spark. Only love can change hearts. Let your peace be the spark. Only love can change hearts. Let your peace be the spark. So hear our voice, we are one. We will fight until we've won. Love will heal every heart. We will fight. We will fight. Hear our voice, we are one. We will fight until we've won. Love will heal every heart. We will fight until we've won, until we've won. Until we won. Today is the day where we will fight for this. Be the voice of righteousness. Speak for those unheard.
Hello, everyone. My name is PJ Anderson. I'm a singer-songwriter. I grew up in St. John, Indiana, and my wife and our 4 kids have lived in Nashville, Tennessee for the last 12 years. And I really wish I could be there with you tonight, but I can't be there. But I'd love to share a song with you that I wrote as an anthem for life. You know, all of our beating hearts begin in the same love, the love of God. And that love is what caused God to create us, to create each and every one of us in his image and in his likeness. And also, he invites us in a very special way to create life, to be part of creation as a man and a woman, to create life. And no one has a right to take that life away. But all too often, our history is burdened by violence and hatred and death. But our history and our future can be peace. There's no hurt, there's no evil on this earth that the love of Jesus cannot heal. And there's no child that should not be given the chance to live, no matter the situation that they're born into. God can work wonders and wants to work wonders in each and every one of us. And if we trust in the Lord, his love will heal all brokenness. So God bless you guys. Thank you for all that you do to stand up for life, and have a great evening. God bless.
So we should have over 500,000 more births in 2024, right? Wrong. Abortions are not counted in the death counts. There was 1,038,100 abortions reported in 2024. That's 481,832 more deaths than births in 2024. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't know how many pill abortions there were. Do we? Doctor, do we know? Anybody in this room would know, it would be this guy. Nobody in this room does more research on it than this fella. There are more people dying in our country than are being birthed, and it's because some of us aren't doing enough about it. The 2025 stats, ladies and gentlemen, are mirroring 2024. And, by the way, Indiana's no better. 2023, we had 9,300 abortions for Indiana women. 2024 and 2025, we had 9,500 Indiana women have surgical abortions. How is that? Anybody know? They went to Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan. And guess who told us that? The abortion industry, the Guttmacher industry. The Guttmacher Institute, which is the statistical arm of Planned Parenthood. Who's winning this war? We had some great accomplishments. Roe versus Wade was overturned. Hey, that's great, right? For real. Come on, I mean, seriously. Okay? I mean, there's some really good ones, okay? But this abortion pill thing is kicking the teeth out of anything good we're doing. And if we sit back and do nothing about it, we're just as guilty as the rest of them. And I'm talking to everybody in this room, myself included. This is serious. You guys know in 3 generations, Korea is going to be extinct, right? 4 more countries in Europe is going to be extinct because their deaths far outweigh their births. We're not too far behind them at this rate. And they don't admit it, but it's closer than you seem because they don't count abortions as deaths. So the enemy's idea is to kill them humans before they're born. We don't have to worry about them. Ladies and gentlemen, the enemy is killing more children than anybody knows. Last year, worldwide, over 78 million children were killed in the world. 78 million children because of our selfishness or whatever reason you want to call it. I just think many of us are doing great work. Many of us are doing nothing but getting scabs on our backsides, and we need to get with it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. Take a look at our goals and accomplishment. Do something to help us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Well, it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker this evening. Dr. George Delgado, MD, is the president and founder of Steno Institute. Since 2005, he has been the medical director of Culture of Life Family Services in San Diego, California. He is also the creator of the abortion pill reversal program, now called Abortion Pill Rescue. In 2018, because of the APR success, Dr. Delgado partnered with Heartbeat International, the largest pro-life organization in the world. Heartbeat International assumed responsibility of APR's operations and global outreach. Dr. Delgado retained directorship of APR research and has founded the Steno Institute to serve as the platform for broader pro-life research including abortion pill reversal. There have been over 8,000 successful reversals. This is all due to the procedure since its creation. So please welcome our guest tonight, Dr. George Delgado.
Thank you for those kind words, and thanks everybody for being here. So tonight we're going to, let's have the first slide up. We're going to celebrate life, and it's going to be a call to action. This is a little QR code if you're interested in some articles and videos about abortion, pill reversal, and other pro-life topics, or you go to stenoinstitute.org/resources. So I think it's a good moment right now to pause and think, why are we here tonight? And Len, I think, really set the stage well for us. But we're here tonight because we want to be transformative. All of us are called to make a difference in our society. And tonight, each and every one of you is called to help Lake County Right to Life be a transformative force in this area, in this county, in this part of the state, so that we can make this a pro-life state for many, many, many years to come. And the point I really want to emphasize, like he made, is that abortion pill reversal really now is the tip of the spear of the pro-life movement. So you need to get involved, you need to know about abortion pill reversal, because women are going to be asking you for counsel, or people are going to ask you questions, and people are going to want to know, what is this about abortion pill reversal? And you're going to be the ones who can tell them, because you're going to be well educated after tonight. Before we go any further, I want to clear up a misconception that some of you may have, even doctors have had, about what's the difference between the abortion pill and the morning after pill. Well, the morning after pill is usually a high-dose contraceptive taken by a woman after having so-called unplanned intercourse in order to prevent pregnancy. She may or may not be pregnant, but she wouldn't know if she's pregnant. Now, truth be told, probably a large percentage of the time this can be abortifacient, but it's taken by a woman with a contraceptive intent. So it's totally different from the abortion pill, where a woman who knows she's pregnant can take this pill, approved up to 10 weeks of pregnancy, and even being taken up to 12 weeks of pregnancy in order to end the life of her preborn baby. So really, there's not a lot of difference in that sense between a surgical abortion, the traditional abortion with instruments, or a chemical abortion. The end results are the same. One, the preborn baby ends up dead, and two, the mother becomes another victim of the medical abortion complex. There is one difference, however, and that's the reason I'm here tonight. And that's because we now know that chemical abortions are reversible, that if a woman changes her mind, she has the ability to have a second chance at choice. So we're here tonight so that many, many more women who want that choice will have it, so they'll know about it, and so they'll be easy for her to get to, and so we'll be able to save more babies that way. Let's go to the next slide. So this is my new book that some of you may have, and I brought a few copies that I'll have for sale afterwards if you're interested. And I wrote this really because I wanted people to know about abortion pill reversal, and I wanted them to have it in a format that was very understandable and readable. And you can get it at Amazon or Ignatius.com or at our website, stenoinstitute.org. And in that book, in the first part of it, I go through really what is abortion pill reversal, how does it work, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. And I talk about how I got involved with this. Because abortion pill reversal was not a big idea that came to me or to somebody else where we planned all this out. It actually was a grassroots effort that started with two women thousands of miles apart at different times who asked Dr. Matthew Harrison and myself if we could help them reverse their chemical abortions. That's really how it started. It was women's cry for help. So we're responding to it. It's not like we're imposing anything on anyone. And how I first got started with that first woman was I was in my office in San Diego, seeing patients, kind of minding my own business, and I got a telephone call from Terry Palmquist. Now, Terry is a sidewalk counselor in Bakersfield, California. She also has a website called Lifesaver, and she carries a cell phone. So she takes phone calls from women all over the country, giving them pro-life assistance. And on that day, Terry had gotten a phone call from a woman in El Paso, Texas. And the woman's name was Erin. And Erin said, "Terry, can you help me reverse my abortion? Because I've taken mifepristone and I've changed my mind." And Terry didn't know how to help her, so she gave me a call. And I said, "Terry, I've never heard of anybody reversing a chemical abortion, but let me give this some thought." And it was right then that the Holy Spirit put two and two together in my mind, because I had a great knowledge of how to use progesterone in pregnancy in women with low progesterone levels who were having cramping and spotting, a situation we call threatened miscarriage. In those cases, you can give progesterone and save the baby. And for some reason, I had an inordinate interest in mifepristone even before it was approved in the United States in the year 2000. I knew all about it. I knew how it worked by blocking progesterone receptors. And so I reasoned, well, although these women may have normal progesterone levels, their levels are being made ineffective by the mifepristone because it's blocking it. So perhaps I could treat these like I treat the women with low progesterone levels, give them supplemental progesterone, and maybe I could outcompete the mifepristone and save the baby. So I came up with a protocol on the fly, but then I had another problem, and that was that I was in San Diego and Erin was in El Paso. So I got on the internet and I went searching and I found Dr. Jonalyn Bellacura in El Paso, Texas. And Dr. Bellacura agreed to use the protocol that I had devised, and she saw Erin that day and started treating her. Well, about 2 weeks later, I got a call from Dr. Bellacura that the baby was still alive. Thanks be to God. So I got updates throughout the pregnancy, and I found that everything was going well. And finally, at the end, she delivered a very healthy baby girl. So from then, people started hearing more about what I had done, and they were calling me and asking me for advice, and I was giving them advice, telling them how I'd use the progesterone. And we became aware of a handful of cases, and by 2012, I published the first article in the peer-reviewed medical literature describing 6 cases of abortion pill reversal. 4 out of the 6 were successful, and I thought, well, we're probably onto something. But we had a couple of problems. One was that there were some women who weren't finding out about this in time. And so they never were able to get the help with their second chance at choice. The other was that every time I got a phone call from somebody in another part of the country, I had to scramble to find a doctor in that part of the country who could help her. So then that's when I started Abortion Pill Reversal, the network. I started recruiting doctors into the network from all over the country. And we started the hotline and a website so that women could find us very quickly and we could get help to them in a very prompt manner. And from there, it grew very well organically. So by 2018, we published our second article, and this was of over 500 women that we studied who had undergone abortion pill reversal. At that point, the whole network had outgrown our small nonprofit in San Diego County, and that's when we partnered with Heartbeat International, who took it over, and they've nourished it ever since, and it's grown and grown. Like you heard, over 8,000 babies they've documented have been born after abortion pill reversal. And in the next part of the part 1 of my book, I talk about how mifepristone was actually approved in the United States. And I don't know how many of you know, but the Federal Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, actually broke several of its own rules to approve mifepristone. So mifepristone essentially was approved illegally in our country because the Clinton administration greased the rails and had a very favored status in getting approved here. The second part of the book, then, I think is a very, very interesting part. Here's where I tell the stories of different women who've undergone abortion pill reversal. And actually, they're telling their own stories. In their own words, they've written chapters in the book about how it's been going through abortion pill reversal. There are also a couple of chapters written by some of our hotline nurses and 2 by different doctors who've been part of abortion pill reversal. One of the best stories was my very first San Diego case. And this was Cynthia and Jael, who were 19-year-old college students who really weren't getting much traction in their life. They were part-time students, had part-time jobs, but really weren't going anywhere. They both had faith backgrounds, but their faith had really weakened and they had drifted apart from their relationship with God. Well, one day, Cynthia found out that she was pregnant. So she didn't know what to do. She went to her family to ask for counsel. And her family members, surprisingly, including her mother, recommended that she have an abortion. They said, Cynthia, if you don't have an abortion, you're not going to be able to finish college and fulfill all your dreams. And her mother actually gave her the money to go pay for the abortion. So she went to the abortion center with Jael, her boyfriend. And while she was there, before she even took the pill, she had immediate regret. And she bolted out of the room, ran out, crying hysterically in the parking lot. And Jael ran out there. And up until then, he was being pretty passive and really he said he didn't want blood on his hands, so he wasn't telling her what to do. But this time he said, you know, honey, we can do this. If you don't want to go through this abortion, we can do this. But for some reason, she felt that she had to go through with her original plan to have that chemical abortion. So she gathered herself, calmed her emotions. She marched back into the abortion center, and she took the mifepristone pill. She went home to her house, and Jael went home to his house, and their plan then was for him to join her later on the next day when she took the second set of the pills that I'll describe in a few minutes. Well, in the meantime, while all that was happening, Cynthia's mother repented of what she had done, and she went to confession. And after the priest heard her confession, he said to her, by the way, do you know that Dr. Delgado in town can reverse chemical abortions? I don't know how he knew about this so early, but he did. And so Cynthia's mother asked her if she would talk to the priest, and she said yes. So she talked to the priest. He told her about me and what we were doing, and asked if she'd be willing to talk to me. She was somewhat resistant, but she agreed to talk to me. So then on Saturday morning, I got on the phone with her for the first time. So she asked me a lot of questions. I explained to her exactly what we were doing and how it worked. And she would go between being very interested to being very, very resistant. We went back and forth several phone calls during the day. At one point, she got very frustrated and she hung up the phone on me. And I thought, okay, well, I guess that's not going to happen. But then she called back a few minutes later, and I said, oh, Cynthia, I think we got cut off. So finally, she agreed to come into the office. By now, it was Saturday night. My wife, who's a registered nurse, came with me. And we both noticed that Cynthia had her arms crossed, her head was down. She didn't really want to engage us. But she agreed to have the ultrasound. So I put the ultrasound gel on her belly, put the ultrasound transducer there. Right there, the baby came up on the screen. We could see the heart beating. All of a sudden, Cynthia and Jael started bawling, crying. And just a switch went off, and they decided right then and there that they were going to do whatever they could to save their preborn baby's life. So we gave her the first treatment there. At that time, we were using progesterone injections, gave her the first injection, and saw her over the next few days and continued the treatment. And her pregnancy went very, very well. At the end of the pregnancy, she had a very healthy baby boy that they named Christian. And then from there, Jael and Cynthia really got their lives on track. They both got jobs. They finished their education. They came back to the Lord, came back to their church communities. And they've had 2 children since then and have been living very, very godly lives. But that's not the end of the story. Christian, who's now in high school, when she was writing her chapter when he was in 8th grade at the end of the 8th grade year, she left her computer open. And they hadn't told him about his story. But he came by the computer and was reading what she had written. And he said, Mom, is this story about me? And before she could answer, he had a huge smile on his face, and he said, I'm a miracle baby. And indeed he is. In part 3 of the book, the first chapter is about common themes, where I look at all of these cases and as well as other anecdotes I've heard and what the hotline nurses have told me. And I found that there are 3 common themes in these abortion pill reversal cases. The first is that there's always somebody in the woman's corner. She's never totally alone. There's always a confidant, a family member, someone who's pulling it for her. And I'd like all of you to think about that, because sometimes they don't have family members who are pulling for them. Sometimes it's going to be the person at the pregnancy help center who's going to be pulling for them. Sometimes it's going to be one of you who's going to be a friend or a confidant or a mentor. Sometimes it's going to be one of you stepping out of your comfort zone and being there for that woman. Sometimes it's going to be all of us collectively partnering together with Lake County Right to Life in order to bring that message that there's someone there for her, someone who's in her corner so that she doesn't feel alone. The second thing we've seen is that there's almost always immediate regret. Now, Cynthia had that regret even before she took the pill. Hers was earlier than most. But most of the others, the stories I hear, is that when the woman takes that pill, almost immediately she feels that she has done something wrong, she has regret, because she knows that she's gone against that hardwired instinct that all mothers have to nurture their preborn babies and to nurture their children. And so when they take that pill, they suddenly realize what they've done and they have that immediate regret. The third common theme I've seen in these women is that they almost all have a religious connection, some relationship with God. Many times that relationship has become distant, they've drifted away, but there is still some foundation, and they are able to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, trying to lead them to the path of life and to lead them to what they should be doing, what God intended them to do, to be loving parents. I also have a chapter comparing APR with CPR. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. We can go to the next slide now. And this is a slide that shows you the cultural civil war that we're in right now. And so we're used to seeing red states being conservative, but on this map, red is for blood. And so the red is the pro-abortion states. So you see that on the coast, it's red on both sides, and then a couple of interior states, Illinois, Minnesota, Colorado, and New Mexico. The green is for growth. The green is for life. These are the pro-life states. And thanks be to God, Indiana is a solid green pro-life state. However, you can't be complacent, because some solid green pro-life states, Missouri and Ohio, had ballot initiatives that were highly funded by outside groups. Think people like George Soros money, coming in from out of state, where they hoodwinked the electorate, and so they voted, the people voted to protect abortion, have it enshrined in their state constitutions. It happened in Missouri, it happened in Ohio, and it can happen here if you are complacent. So you have to be on your toes, you have to support your strong pro-life politicians, and you have to watch out for outside money that's going to come in here. So you're going to have to be boots on the ground, educating people when, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when these propositions pop up, because they will. Their game strategy is to go to every pro-life state and pick them off one at a time. And so far, you see they've been successful. This November, they're targeting Nevada, and Nevada is going to be on the ballot, the so-called Question 6. So we have to be ready for this. This cultural civil war is intensifying. It's not just cultural, it's become bloody. You know that because you know that churches have been attacked. You know that pro-life pregnancy help centers have been attacked. You know that the martyr Charlie Kirk was killed partly because of his pro-life views. And so this could become a bloody conflict. It could become a conflict that separates our union, that leads us into secession. So we have to hold together as pro-life warriors and not let the agents of death take over, not let them dominate, especially not let them dominate our pro-life states. Next slide, please. This slide, I want to show you the growth of chemical abortions in the U.S. So by 2025, or now 2026, my estimate is that 70% or more of all abortions in the United States are chemical abortions. Now here in Indiana, it's probably 80 to 90%, because the women who don't travel out of state to get their surgical abortions, they are getting it through the mail. And so What's happening here are all chemical abortions nearly, and so that's why abortion pill reversal, particularly for all of you, has to be top of mind. It has to be the tip of your spear so that we can help these women who are being victimized. Next slide. So I've talked about the tip of the spear. Let's go to the next slide now. You're all probably wondering, well, what is abortion pill reversal and how does it work? So I'm going to explain that to you now in very simple terms you can understand. First of all, it's very important to know that progesterone, as the name implies, it's an acronym, progestational steroid kinone, is the hormone of pregnancy. It is essential for pregnancy. It does many, many things that keep the pregnancy going. A woman who has very low progesterone levels will miscarry every single pregnancy she has. One of the most important things that progesterone does for our discussion is that it acts like the super glue of the placenta. It keeps the placenta very well adhered to the wall of the uterus so that the preborn baby can get oxygen, hydration, and nutrition from his or her mother and can discharge the waste products. So that tight connection is extremely important. So if you can imagine that progesterone is like a key that goes into a lock, turns the lock, and the door opens. The door opening is the hormone effect, that super glue I just mentioned. Now, how many of you have had the very frustrating and unfortunate situation where you had a key that you put into a lock and it fit into the lock perfectly well, but it didn't turn the lock? Has that ever happened to you? Yeah. Well, that's exactly what mifepristone is. It's a false key. So that key fits into the lock, but it doesn't turn the lock, so the door doesn't open. So it's blocking the effects of the progesterone. That causes the placenta to separate off the wall of the uterus. The baby's lifeline is cut off, and the preborn baby dies. Now, fortunately for us, that false key doesn't stay forever in that keyhole. It comes on and off the receptor. It's a dynamic process. So our strategy is to give supplemental progesterone so that we have more of the good guy keys lined up in front of that receptor so that the moment the bad key comes out, there's a good guy key ready to go in, the progesterone, to turn that lock and to open the door to keep the placenta very well adhered to the wall of the uterus. So that's how we use progesterone to defeat mifepristone on the cellular level. And we give supplemental progesterone until all the mifepristone washes out and for a few weeks later in order to allow the placenta to heal. Next slide. So the abortion pill process, however, is actually two drugs. The mifepristone I just described to you that kills the preborn baby by blocking progesterone. But there's a second drug called misoprostol, also known as Cytotec. They give that 24 to 48 hours later in order to completely empty the uterus. It causes strong contractions to push the remains of the preborn baby outside of the mother. So we have a direct antidote for the first one, mifepristone, and that's when we want these women to come in so that we can reverse that. Because for the misoprostol, we don't have a direct antidote, so it's a little more complicated. We're working on it. But right now, we're reversing mifepristone, the first drug in the cocktail. Next slide, please. So these are our stats. Over 8,000 babies documented born. We've helped women in all 50 states and in more than 93 different countries. So this is truly, truly an international effort. Our success rates are anywhere from 55 to 68% successful reversals, depending on the study that you look at. And we give this progesterone most of the time these days within about 24 hours of the mother's ingested the mifepristone, although we have had success up to 72 hours after she's ingested mifepristone. Next slide. So the big change in the environment since Dobbs was struck down and since the Biden administration really cut out most of the restrictions on mifepristone is the proliferation of telemedicine and mail order abortion. President Biden allowed telemedicine procurement of abortion pills under the guise of the COVID public health emergency. But when COVID went away, those restrictions didn't come back. And so telemedicine, many of you have probably had telehealth visits where you go on a computer and you see a doctor or nurse practitioner and you have a medical encounter. Well, that's how a lot of these women are getting these abortion pills now. The other is simple mail order. And that's where you go on a website and you just type in some information and you can get the abortion pill shipped to you. Several months ago, I went on a website, and after only 6 clicks, the website was asking me for my credit card information so that they could send me the abortion pills. So anybody can get it. You don't have to be a woman. You don't have to be pregnant. You just have to know how to click, and you can get these abortion pills very, very readily. It has become the wild, wild west. And like Len said, we don't know how many of these are happening. We really don't know. We can't keep track. And it's very unfortunate that even under the current administration, I'm hopeful that maybe after the midterms they're going to be a little more aggressive. But the federal law called the Comstock Act is not being enforced. That is a law from the 1800s that still makes it illegal to ship abortifacients across state lines. So that's something here, and you here in Indiana can maybe think about acting on is having the federal government enforce the Comstock Act. Because you pro-life states are being held as prey. They're predators from other states who are shipping these into your states. They're victimizing the women in your communities, and so you're going to need to figure out better ways to keep these drugs from flowing across state lines. And one of the ways to do that would be the Comstock Act. Now, with the telehealth and mail-order abortions, women are putting themselves at great risk because their abortions are no longer being supervised, right? The vast majority of the time when they have these abortions, they have not had ultrasounds. And with no ultrasound, we know that 1 to 3% of all pregnancies in the U.S. are ectopic pregnancies. That means the baby's not in the uterus. And without an ultrasound, a woman's not going to know that. So with her unsupervised abortion, she may have heard or she may have read that bleeding is something to be expected. She might have a lot of bleeding. Well, this woman's in her bathroom. She starts to bleed a lot. She doesn't think anything of it, so she doesn't call 911. And what happens? Her tube ruptures, and she bleeds out. She loses consciousness, and she's down on the ground dying on the floor as a sacrifice on the altar of choice. And we know that there have been at least 20 cases documented of exactly this happening. And we know that there are very, very many more, and there will be more in the future if this continues like this. Also, without an ultrasound, a woman will not know how far along she is in her pregnancy. She may be past the time where she can use mifepristone, and she may take it and she may have bleeding that doesn't cause an abortion but could put her life at risk. 15% of all women have Rh negative blood. And we know that during pregnancy and during abortions, there can be mixing of the preborn babies and the mother's blood. Well, if the preborn baby has Rh positive blood, then the woman's immune system will see that as foreign and will mount an immune response. For that abortion, it's not going to make a big deal. It's not going to change anything. But you may know that immune systems have the memories of elephants. They never forget when they've seen a protein that's foreign. And so in future wanted pregnancies with Rh positive babies, that woman will be doomed to stillbirth after stillbirth and other complications. And that's a curse that can never be outdone. It can never be undone, because once the immune system starts on that, it never stops. Now, we know that there are a lot of social risks that women are taking too, because we know that these mail order and chemical abortions are now the tools of sex traffickers, rapists, and child molesters. We know that in the nearby state of Illinois back in the summer, Emerson Evans was arrested, and he essentially admitted to the police that he had surreptitiously placed abortion pills inside his girlfriend who was pregnant in order to cause the abortion. And there's a case in Texas where there's a woman suing her ex-boyfriend and also suing the website Aid Access that's run by a Dr. Gompertz out of New York State, because the boyfriend got abortion pills shipped from New York State and then mixed them in her hot chocolate. She drank it and she aborted her baby. In Scotland, there was a well-decorated paramedic who now is going to serve 10 years in jail for surreptitiously giving his pregnant girlfriend the abortion pills, causing the abortion of her preborn baby. These are just a few of the cases that we know about. This is happening over and over and over again. These are the tools of rapists, child molesters, and sex traffickers, and this is something that we need to stop. Next slide, please. So we've had a lot of Well, this is the slide that shows the percentage of telehealth abortions. It says here 25% of all abortions are telehealth. The recent statistics I just saw is 28%, so that's going to be growing more and more. Next slide. We've had a great deal of pushback, and I talk about this in the book, in the chapter, David and Goliath. What I call the medical abortion complex has been coming at us gangbusters. And at first I was wondering, well, why are they so against abortion pill reversal if they say they're pro-choice? Why are they against a second chance at choice? Well, I found out when I read this quote from Dr. Daniel Grossman. He's a big abortion researcher at University of California, San Francisco, and he's also the medical director of the Bixby Center, which has been accused of exporting abortion and contraception to third world countries. And he was interviewed by this leftist outlet called Slate, and this is what the article said. Grossman says that the progesterone, as in abortion pill reversal, probably won't hurt a woman if she's under medical supervision. In other words, he's admitting that what we're doing is very safe because we always provide very good supervision to these women. We never just let them have unsupervised care. But he's concerned that the advertisement of the procedure could mislead the public about the prevalence of abortion regret. Next slide. Bingo. This is the reason why they've come after us. Because they know that if you know that some women change their minds after starting their chemical abortion process, then that blows a huge hole in the narrative that abortion is a great good for all women. Because if it were such a great good, then why would some women change their minds and want to stop their chemical abortions? Next slide. Oh, back one. So I told you about the chapter APR and CPR that we have in the book where I compare the two. And really they're very similar, abortion pill reversal and cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Both are life-saving measures for emergency situations. Now there are some differences, however, in that CPR has a pretty low success rate. Survival, we're happy if people survive CPR if it's about 15% of the time. While with abortion pill reversal, like I said, 55 to 68% of the time. And people who undergo CPR sometimes are neurologically impaired afterwards. They don't always come out as good as they went into it. But with abortion pill reversal, our studies have shown that there's no risk of birth defects. The babies come out totally healthy as the general population. But there's another really big difference too. And that is that CPR saves the life of one person. APR, however, saves the physical life of the preborn baby and the spiritual life of the mother. She, who would have aborted her preborn baby, now becomes the savior of her preborn baby. Think of that. It is truly transformative. And we've seen abortion pill reversal as the pivot point for so many lives. Where I've seen people like Cynthia and Jael, who, after going through abortion pill reversal, totally change the trajectory of their lives, and they become very God-fearing, holy people, leading their families on very, very good paths. We've seen that over and over again. And we think that that's one of the beautiful blessings of this transformation. And in this spirit of transformation, then, I want you to think about how you can be transformative in your community here in Lake County and in the surrounding areas. How you can help Lake County Right to Life be a transformative force. They need your generosity. They need you to dig down deep, to sacrificially give so they continue all of the great work they're doing. They are the foremost premier voice for life here in Lake County and in Northwest Indiana. This is the organization that you want to support, that you want to be a part of. You want to link your efforts with them because they are doing such great good in so many different facets in the pro-life community. And they really get the message that abortion pill reversal truly is the new tip of the spear of the pro-life movement. So I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about going out on a limb and going out and spreading the word about abortion pill reversal and about the goodness of life. Spread that message to your family members, your friends, your coworkers, in the city square, to the government, and especially at the ballot box. Be there for these women. Be there for these preborn babies. We may not all be blood martyrs like Charlie Kirk, but we all have an obligation, a duty to serve our community, to serve our God by being martyrs in the sense that we lay down our lifestyles and sacrifice for the preborn babies and for these women who are being victimized by the medical abortion complex. So I want you to go out there and be not afraid. Be not afraid to take a stand. Be not afraid to be vocal. Be charitable, but be truthful. Tell the truth about life. And most of all, I want you now, tonight, to be very generous, to give to Lake County Right to Life, because they are making a difference here. You can make a difference here in this county, this state, this night. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless Lake County Right to Life, and God bless America.
Well, thank you, Dr. Delgado, for dedicating your life to God, research, and science to rescue humanity from the evil one, and for being here with us tonight.